Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to be giving you an overview of what we're going to be doing the next couple of weeks while we do our Hunger Games unit. So I know it looks like there's a lot back here. That's because this is just me introducing you to everything we're going to be covering. And then each day or a couple of days, we're going to dive into one aspect of it. So normally if we were in school, we would be reading the book together and going through different questions, assignments, things like that. Since we're home, I figured we would go the movie route because it's more so the themes, the literary devices that are used throughout the story that I really want to focus on, and they are in the movie, obviously, as well. So we're going to do it that way. We already were introduced to the themes the last couple of weeks. Last week, I gave you a News ELA article that talked about the first theme, which is dystopian society. So you do have an understanding of the type of background we're dealing with this movie, with the storyline. The second theme is survival, and we're going to see it right away what it's about once we get into the movie. This week I am going to give you a little activity that deals with survival. Now, when we think of the word to survive, it's to get through, right? Not to die. And obviously in this movie, we're going to see it in a very literal way. But there are also ways, that we think about the term survival that are a little bit more figurative, right? We're surviving, having school through laptops, right? Where when you make it through a class, you say you survived that class, right? Or I survived the day, I made it through. So we're going to be looking at this term survival in the different ways that it's utilized. The third theme is violence in reality TV. So obviously it's prevalent in the movie we're going to be watching, but it's also really prevalent in today's society, right? There's so much reality TV out there, whether it's on one of the streaming services or on regular TV. So we are going to look at that both in the movie and actually as it is today. And especially since we're stuck home, we're probably watching more of that than we normally would be for some of us. So I definitely want to get into some discussions relating to that. So now, once we go through all of the themes, you will have an assignment where you just have to choose one of the themes from the film, and you're going to create a board or a web representing that theme. So this will be one of your assignments, and it'll be based off of one of these three themes, okay? So this is just one of them. The next big thing I want to kind of talk about is this is a complete review when it comes to this board right here, because we did all of this every single time we read a story or watched something. We did all three of these things. So it's kind of just a reminder, because you will have to do this as you're watching the movie or after you finish watching the movie. So the big one is characterization. And I know I've been harping on this all year because it's really important that you start to think of the characters in the books, in the movies, as people, and think of them in the same way that you view people that you encounter in real life. And the best way that I found for us to kind of get a complete understanding of the character is to use the STEEL method. And you've gotten this worksheet a ton of times before in class. I will post it again so that way you have it to utilize, but it just kind of breaks down to, when you think about the character, what do they say and how do they say it? And now, obviously, the what do they say is really easy because we can hear what they're saying. But how they say it, the tone, are they being genuine or are they being sarcastic? Are they deceiving you with what they're saying? That says a lot about a character. What they're thinking. So what do we learn about the character based on their thoughts, right? What are their motives? Are they honestly trying to help someone else? Or are they, saying one thing, but we know that they're thinking that this is a way to kind of get around whatever the situation is. So you want to think about, what are they thinking and what does that tell us about them as a person? Effects on others. This is a big one because this is how do other characters behave in response to the character you're talking about. So, if you're dealing with somebody, right? And they might have a really strong personality and they're talking and talking and talking. How do they make others feel based on what they're saying, what they're doing? Because, if a person makes you feel uncomfortable or scared or intimidated, that says a lot about their character. If they make you feel comfortable and wanted and loved or respected, that takes on a whole different characteristic. So you want to think about that. Like, how do their actions affect, what do they say? How does that affect other characters? Because that says a whole lot about them as a person. Actions. What does the character do and how do they do it? Now, obviously, in a movie like this, there's going to be a lot of action. So we're going to have a lot of examples of that with what are they doing and how are they doing it? Are they confident in what they're doing? Is it by accident? Are they being tricked into what they're doing? A lot of that plays into the type of person they are, right? If someone's being scammed and you see that they're consistently following through with the behavior, you can really say, like, all right, this isn't a strong person. Like, they're not thinking on their own. Instead, they're just following what they're being told. And then the last one is looks. So the physical looks. Now, when we're reading a book, the looks is a little bit harder sometimes because sometimes authors don't give you all of those details. In a movie, obviously, we're going to see the characters. So when we look at the physical looks, I want you to do two things. First, I want you to look at how they look in the beginning. What are they wearing? Physically, like their face. Do they look confident? Do they look insecure? Do they look happy? Do they look sad? Look at them in the beginning and then as a progression. So throughout the film, do their looks change at all? Do their outfits change and why? Are they given uniforms? Do they choose what they're wearing? How do their physical attributes change throughout? As they're going through this process of the movie, of the different situations, do they change at all? Do some characters become more confident? Do some become weaker? Look at that and take note of that. You will have a characteristics worksheet for our two big characters. So, and the first time they're doing it is when they're training for the games. I want you to take down their characteristics, and then there'll be a secondary characteristics chart for you to look at as well. Okay, now the next big thing is conflict. So we have internal and external conflicts, which we've been talking about throughout the year, right? So internal conflicts are the struggles that we have within ourselves, the big decisions we have to make, and what do those decisions do? So you're going to look at the internal conflicts and the external conflicts. Now, obviously, within these games, there's a ton of external conflict. You're going to take note of those, right? And see, what they say about the characters. So you will have, during the games, the different conflicts between the districts. So you will have one of these to fill out as well when it comes down to conflict, okay? And then the last literary device that we're going to be talking about throughout this unit is symbols or symbolism. And I just want you to remember that symbols, it's when an object or a person or idea stands for something bigger than itself, okay? And we're going to have a number of symbols throughout the story, and so I will give you the symbols worksheet right away because some of them come up very early on, but that assignment will be due at a later date. But I just wanted to give you this overview today because of a few things. I know that some of you work at different paces, so it'll allow you to kind of take certain things in. Some of you have seen the movie before, so you'll actually be able to kind of actively work on some of these assignments while you're watching it, and some of you never had. So I want you to be able to have enough time to really enjoy the film, because it's a good movie, and then really look at the characters as people and the different aspects that go into it. So as I said, this is not all due this week. This is something we're going to do over the next few weeks, But I just wanted to give you that overview today so you have an idea of what direction we're going in with this unit. Okay, have a wonderful day. As always, I'm here if you have any questions at all.